Jon Rahm, a professional golfer from Spain, was the best golfer in the world when he was an amateur. He was the only person to do something for 60 weeks straight. Something strange about Rahm is now making him a trend on Twitter. The winner of the 2020 Memorial Tournament is getting a lot of attention because his name is trending on Twitter for all kinds of strange reasons. What reasons do you think could be making the superstar trend? Watch on to find out. Jon Rahm trends on Twitter after bizarre rumor sends golf fans into a frenzy. Jon Rahm is the most recent golfer who is said to be joining LIV Golf. Rahm would be a very big addition to the Saudi-backed league, which keeps adding players every week. But now the Spaniard has come forward to deny the accusations that he jumped ships. Rahm has said in the PGA Tour LIV Golf debate that he will back the PGA. The Spaniard, who came in second place at the DP World Tour's BMW PGA Championship, has said that despite rumors, he will stay on the PGA Tour. You can be sure that he supports the American circuit. But Rahm and the PGA Tour haven't always gotten along well. He recently spoke out against the tour's new changes. In the golf civil war, it's important to know that Jon Rahm is a big fan of the PGA Tour. Rahm was annoyed by the fact that LIV golfers were at the DP World Tour Championship last week, just like Rory McIlroy and Billy Horschel. During the US Open in June, he was asked how he felt about the debate. He said that his heart is with the PGA Tour. As the PGA Tour starts its new season, the debate between the two circuits keeps going. There are now rumors that LIV will announce more players at the Chicago event coming up. Besides Jon Rahm, LIV Golf is connected to Adam Scott and Hideki Matsuyama. What did Jon Rahm say about the PGA Tour? When the PGA Tour announced changes to the way the tour is set up, many people were surprised. The PGA has decided that its top players will have to play in 20 events starting next year. Fans and many players were happy about this. Jon Rahm, however, didn't like the idea. Rahm, who is one of the best players on the tour, said he didn't like the move. The golfer said that the change that was made during the PGA Tour LIV Golf debate put him in a difficult position. The Spaniard went on to say why the move wasn't player-friendly. Rahm said that he wouldn't be surprised if the tour changed the new system that was just announced. At a press conference, he was asked about the move, which has to do with the Ryder Cup next year. Rahm seemed surprised to hear more about the proposed change for the top players on the PGA Tour after his second round of the Tour Championship. Rahm asked a reporter if it was hard for European guys to play four for the Ryder Cup. Rahm said, "If we have to play all 20 of them, then yes, definitely. I wouldn't be surprised if that changed, because if I don't play, if I go play in Europe in the fall like I plan to, I have to play 20 times from January to August. I think this is my 17th from January, and I don't think I can add any more." He added, "So yeah, I think it's a bit much, especially with the Ryder Cup and having to play four in Europe. I wouldn't be surprised if they changed a rule or made an exception for some players, but if they do it for players like me and Rory McIlroy, they might have to do it for everyone." Moving on to other golfing news, Trevor Immelman hits back at international team critics at the President's Cup press conference. The United States team recently won the 2022 President's Cup. Davis Love III led the team, which beats the international team 17.5 to 12.5. This is the 9th time in a row that Davis Love III's team did a great job at this event. Even though their opponents fought back, the U.S. team looked at ease on the field the whole time. The 4-day event at Quail Hollow Golf Club ended on Sunday when the American team won the trophy. Trevor Immelman, the captain of the international team, had a lot to deal with before the President's Cup. When Immelman took over as captain 2.5 years ago, there were problems on and off the field. He had trouble with how his team played on the field, and he also had to deal with things he couldn't change, like losing top players to LIV Golf and having the event gets pushed back because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Notably, players like Cameron Smith, Joaquin Niemann, and Abraham Ancer leaving for LIV Golf did hurt the international team, but based on what he said, Immelman was able to present a strong case and did put up a good fight. During the whole tournament, the international team was criticized. This week, for example, several news stories made general comments about the team's chances and continued to criticize its lack of talent. People on social media also kept criticizing how the team played as it lost to the U.S. team for the 9th time. The team captain didn't like how much criticism there was, so he or she decided to come out and slam the critics. Trevor Immelman was happy with how his team fought back on Sunday and gave the star-studded American team a fair fight. The internationals made it harder for their opponents to win the cup. Immelman praised the team's efforts at the post-cup press conference and said that he was sick of the criticism that his team has had to deal with. The South African golfer went on to say that his team was no joke. He went on to say that the team would come back for another shot. Next, Davis Love III about the U.S. team at the President's Cup press conference. Davis Love III led the U.S. team that won the 2022 President's Cup. Sunday, the team won the game by beating the international team 17.5 to 12.5. The win at Quail Hollow Golf Club made it 12-1-1 for the Americans in the President's Cup. Since day one, the U.S. team has looked sure to win. Even though Trevor Immelman and the international team fought hard on Sunday, the U.S. team won with a 5-point lead. At the end of the 4 days of action, the U.S. team captain Love seemed happy with how his team did. The U.S. team won because everyone worked together. At the end of day 2, the team was ahead 8-2 and didn't let it go. Sunday's first 3 singles were won by Jordan Spieth, Patrick Cantlay, and Tony Finau. After that, Xander Schauffele beat Canadian Corey Connors 1-up, which gave the U.S. another important point. The Americans won by 5 points at the Quail Hollow Club in Charlotte. This was their second highest score in the 30-point competition. We can say for sure that this made Captain Davis Love III happy. After taking over as captain from the great golfer Tiger Woods, Love made sure to get the best out of his team. He only had good things to say about the winning team. Davis Love III didn't hold back when he talked about how happy he was at the press conference after the Cup. Love said that the U.S. team was committed to being champions as he smiled widely. When asked about the identity of the team, the American captain said that the players were unbelievably confident. The U.S. captain, who won in his hometown of Charlotte, went on to praise the players for their hard work. He went on to say that the players worked hard and were the best in the world. Finally, Kevin Kisner President's Cup record explored as the USA wins for the 9th consecutive time. Speaking of great records, Kevin Kisner was supposed to be the 13th player on the team. However, when Will Zalatoris got hurt, the team's captain, Davis Love III, chose him instead. Even though he was ranked 15th in the U.S. President's Cup, he was chosen to play in the big event. Kisner went to the President's Cup for the second time since 2017. At the end of the 2017 President's Cup, he had 3 points with a score of 2-0-2. He beat Phil Mickelson in a 4-ball match and a foursomes match. He tied with Anirban Lahiri in a singles match. At the 2022 President's Cup, the 38-year-old had a record of 0-2-1, which included a loss to Christian Bezuidenhout in the last singles match on Sunday. The points didn't matter though because the U.S. team had already won by then. Kevin's teammates like to call him Grandpa, but in the end, his experience speaks for itself. During the press conference, he talked about his role on the team and told his much younger teammates what he wanted them to know. Kevin has won half of his matches, or 3.5 points out of a total 7. Also, after the U.S. won the President's Cup, he became famous all over the world. He said some interesting things about his opponents, especially K.H. Lee and Siwoo Kim in the handshake line. Unfortunately, guys, that is all the time we had for today. For more golfing news, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Till next time, cheers!